Okay, let's talk about something that I know for a fact we are all battling with every day, probably every day. Welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shanna, and if you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. We are in our 8th year of homeschooling, and today I want to talk with you about how I navigate the guilt. Before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. So, okay. Basically, today's video, we are going to talk about guilt. Homeschool guilt, parenting guilt, all of the guilt. In a completely unrelated segue, I also want to share with you today this brand new workbook from Evan-Moor. You guys know guilt-free workbooks from Evan-Moor. I absolutely adore Evan-Moor workbooks. We have used so many through both our Timberdoodle kits and that I've purchased on my own to study all kinds of things from geography and daily writing traits and all kinds of things. I absolutely love Evan-Moor workbooks, and they actually recently reached out to me because they have this entire new line of animal workbooks. And I was like, yes, please, because my youngest is die hard animal lover. So I am just going to give you a quick little downshot into this workbook before we go any further talking about guilt. But today's main video topic is guilt. Before that, let's jump into this book. Okay, this is a look inside the brand new Animals Workbook from Evan-Moor. They have multiple levels for all kinds of different ages. This is 8 to 9, and I need to get this look inside done before my daughter takes it away. Oh, information. Okay, let's take a look. We've got drawing. Why? Oh, it's broken down to different animals. Free bonus printables. Okay, so we've got emperor penguins. Okay, we've got fun facts about emperor penguins, activities for emperor penguins, drawing, a narrative, cutouts. That's one reason I absolutely love the Evan-Moor workbooks is because it's not the same thing on every page. So it's a different activity. So some of it's tactile, some of it's reading, some of it's information-based, some of it's narrative, some of it's asking questions, some of it's open-ended, some of it's a crossword puzzle. Things like this are honestly what make the world go round. And so we've got penguins, poison dart frogs, even the different activities are different. Oh man, that's cute. For different animals. And I think that's great. What is the general Sherman tree? Not all animals, some habitats. Loving this so much. Oh, yes. Why are sloths amazing? She is going to power through this in one whole hot minute, I can tell you that. Sloths, elephants, which is a recently added new favorite animal, in case you were wondering. Whales, the other newly recently added favorite animal. Ooh, flying dragon. That's pretty sweet. Let's see, what have we got here? Crater Lake. Wire cheetah is amazing. What else have we got here? Wire zebra is amazing. Okay, I'm in love with their new Amazing Animal Adventures series. Yep. Give it a look. All different kinds of levels. Love it. Guys, thanks for understanding that. Well, this content comes with a cost, and that cost is often, while remaining completely free to you, means that we are highlighting different video partners and different video sponsorships. So thank you for understanding that. And as always, we only talk about things we absolutely love here on this channel, and Evan-Moor, hands down, is one of the top 10. So let us pop on. Hang on, this is a little low now that I sat up taller. Let us pop over and talk about guilt. Can I do this while I'm recording? Let's find out. Speaking of my animal lover, do you like my new invention? Do you see this? It is to dispense the packing peanuts that I use in packaging my orders for my business. So I think that's really sweet. Now that I have jumped completely off topic randomly and crazily, let's pop back into today's video topic, which is guilt. Now, I had the idea to talk about this recently because we moved our kids and they weren't on board. They've never moved. One has never moved. One only moved once when she was a toddler, so does not remember it at all. And with that came a lot of guilt, came a lot of fear, which, as you know, can amplify those feelings of guilt, came a lot of sleepless nights, stressing about making right decisions and wrong decisions, and wondering if we were getting it right or getting it wrong, and making decisions that go against the grain. Every single common theme that pops up with homeschool. I fell back on my experience as a homeschooler so much during our recent transitions, and that is because homeschooling is terrifying. If you're new, I'm sorry. The truth of it is, homeschool is absolutely terrifying. The idea of being responsible for your child's education, the idea of shouldering the weight of that, the gravity of these decisions that you are making for your family, for your learners, it is so scary. And every step of the way, you are met with almost intolerable amounts of doubt and fear, which amplifies those feelings of guilt. And it is guilt about socialization. It is guilt about doing enough. It is guilt about doing too much. It is guilt about staying in the house too much. It is guilt about not staying in the house enough. It is guilt about every single little thing, in the same way that motherhood and parenthood are. The way that I navigate this guilt is just like with everything else that makes you want to sit in a corner and rock back and forth. And it is the only way to it is through it. And I'm sorry. And I know that's not helpful. There is no quick fix. But if I can offer a few words of wisdom, as someone who has come here and shared on this platform now for 5 years, as someone who chose homeschooling before it was the thing to do, before it was pandemically forced on so many, choosing to secular homeschool as a choice, as an option 8 years ago, I can tell you that with experience, you will still be scared. You will still have guilt. You will still have nights when you fear. You will still question the decisions that you're making. That will never go away, in the same way that it will not in parenting. However, I can tell you that it does get better. You will find new things to freak out about and stress about, but it is worth it. And one of the things that I often say to myself, first of all, everything is worse in the middle of the night. Everything is worse in the middle of the night. If you can sleep, eat, shower, and you still feel the same way, that's a real feeling. But if sleep, food, or taking a shower makes everything feel better, or anything feel better, or less intense, or less crazy, that's not a real feeling. And I will often say, rational Shanna knows that we are plenty socialized. Rational Shanna knows that it is a good thing to have our kids out in the world. Rational Shanna knows she's doing enough. But 2 a.m. Shanna, who is losing sleep, she is not to be trusted. So if you are experiencing guilt, if you are experiencing homeschool guilt, if you are fearful of what you're doing, whether it's enough or too much, sleep, eat, shower, and think about it again. Talk it out. I'm here. We've got a whole wonderful community here. People are happy to share. I'm happy to share. There are people here who have been where you are where you are. Again, I'm not immune. I've gone through this year in and year out. And while it never ends, it does get a little easier to know that you've got this. You've got some experience under your belt. There is a little bit of proof in your pudding when it comes to homeschooling your children. Guilt arises from the feeling that you are not doing what you should, that you have failed, that you have not lived up to some standard, that by the decisions that you've made, you have somehow altered course in the way of the world in a manner that will give you a less than desirable result. And that's not true. It just simply isn't true. There are a lot of things to feel guilty about. I have a very new dent on the side of my car from crunching a trash can because I took the turn into our garage a little too closely. I feel guilty about that situation. It is not justified to feel guilty about my homeschool. I'm doing my best. My kids are doing their best. We've talked about this a lot of times. I recognize the red flags and when I need to consider tapping out, as you should too. If you're doing your best, you're giving it your all, that's literally all you can do. Just like with parenting, you're not going to get it right every time. You simply aren't. It's impossible. Okay? You do not have the ability to predict the future. There's no way that you could know the outcome of this. However, if you're doing your best now, you're doing your due diligence now, you're doing what you can now, that is and will be good enough. So please do not become paralyzed with guilt. I can't tell you not to feel it because you will. I feel it. But I can tell you that the way that I navigate it is to engage my rational brain and run through the things that I know to be true. My kids are social. My kids are socialized. They do have friends. We are okay. They are doing enough. And there's certain things, and this is actually a great time to have this conversation because I have been genuinely curious. There are things that my kids don't know, knowledge gaps. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, How I Met Your Mother, there's an episode where they talk about knowledge gaps. And it's like common knowledge that like everybody has, but you don't realize you don't know it until it like is pointed out to you that you don't know it. And Ted, the main character, he is saying the word chameleon, but he's only ever read it. And so he keeps saying chameleon, like a chameleon changes their colors. And so then you find out all the characters' knowledge gaps. And one, it's so funny. But like my own kids, their knowledge gaps from not being in public school sometimes will pop up. Like my oldest going to watch one of her besties dance in a stadium, and she's like never sat in a school stadium and like watched something like that happen before. And so it's pretty funny. Or the fact that my kids have to think really hard about the Pledge of Allegiance, like it's just not indoctrinated into them because they've not pledged it every day. And so that makes me wonder, please share in the comments. How are you approaching things like Gulf of America? I really want to know because I'll tell you what, I have made my children aware that this is a thing. I have made my children aware of why it's happening. But I have been very clear to them that it will never be the Gulf of America to me. But I feel like they need to know it because that might come up. Like their counterparts are going to be learning Gulf of America. So what are we doing with that? Do I feel guilty? No, not on that one. No, I don't. That's foolishness. Anyways, so very curious, guys. What are we doing with that one? Knowledge gaps. Okay, I would love to hear. Comically alleviate the guilt here. What are the things that you didn't realize your kids had a knowledge gap about until it came up, and now it's just kind of like funny? Because they're, I mean, like, it's not, they're fine. They're fine. They are fine, okay, in the world. So again, rational Shanna would like to talk to rational you. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're all going to be fine. There is no reason for this. Now, crazy 2 a.m. Shanna would like to talk to crazy 2 a.m. you and say, girl, I get it. We are failing them. It is terrible. It is a train wreck. But then I'm going to click back into rational Shanna in the morning when we feel a little bit better. And I'm going to tell you, it's fine. We're all fine, guys. It's fine. Okay. So there is no reason for you to feel guilty. You have not done anything wrong. Do your best. Keep trying. As long as you are not willfully failing anybody, we are doing great. Okay? Okay. So yes, if you want any more information on the Evan-Moor book, I'm going to do a little bit of a flip through over on Instagram. You guys know that I love Evan-Moor. So give him a little check out. And yeah, let me know those knowledge gaps. How are you feeling guilty? How are you feeling? It is almost that time of year again when we make the decisions to do this again for another year. So how you doing with that, guys? Now that we are a bit more removed from the situation that caused a lot of people to do this. However, we are a lot closer to some school insanity. The vouchers just passed here again, the school choice thing. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Department of Education being dismantled. You know, how are we doing? Is this the time to send anybody back? It's not. I don't know. Yeah, Gulf of America. What are you teaching? I want to know. As always, guys, I hope you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit that big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up, and any comments, questions, concerns down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. Gulf of America. Just what? All right. Yeah, and one more thing. The boomers who refuse to learn new math. First of all, I made comments about new math the other day, so I also am one of those people. But how are these people taking the Gulf of America, especially if they are statistically more likely to be a Trump voter? I would love to. How is that change going? Because now we're changing globes, changing maps. I just find it interesting. A very serious societal examination here. Anyways, Gulf of America.